Taking out my headphones.
Editing butts.
Edgar, I never liked him. Hey, best friend, I'm back.
Hey man, how are you? I didn't hear any of that. We usually start with follow-up, and we usually leave stuff about our lives until the end of the show in the green room.
Mm-hmm.
But I think today we're going to have to break from form because something quite amazing has happened.
Do tell.
So I was in work, and a stranger walks in and is looking for Artifexian. And so I was spotted and recognized at work by an Artifexian fan, which...
So you were in the academy?
I was in the academy, and I was standing at reception, and a stranger comes in and is like looking for Artifexian, which in and of itself is amazing. Like, it's so cool. But that happenstance, that thing that happened, inadvertently has saved the podcast from being scrapped.
Okay.
Yeah. So for the listeners, myself and Bill have had a bit of a torturous time trying to get this recording done because of scheduling failures. Edgar forgot a microphone one time, not being able to record in certain places, and it's all been a bit of a nightmare. To the point where I was half considering, Bill, texting you and being like, this might be too cumbersome to do, especially if we can't find a good place to record.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out, this particular Artifexian fan has started up a business here in Dublin City, which is called the Clockwork Door.
Right.
And the Clockwork Door is sort of like, technically it's called a time house. And this is where you can come to this place and treat it as your home away from home and only pay for the time that you spend here. Stuff like food and drinks and facilities are all free.
Okay.
So I was so the Artifexian fan said like, oh, it'd be great, Artifexian, if you can give us some promotion, help us out. And I was like, well, could you give us a recording space? And then I can maybe mention you on the podcast for having saved the podcast. And this is what has happened. I am now sitting in said time house recording, and I'm allowed to be here whenever I want to record for free, I might add. He's been kind enough to give me the facilities for free.
Oh, wow.
And literally this person, I don't even know if I should use his real name, but I'll just say this person has and this is not hyperbole, he has saved the podcast. It's amazing.
That's brilliant.
And I got to tell you, man, there'll be pictures in the show notes of this place. It is cool. Like, it's just a new business just started up, and it's got a real like young person's vibe to it. Like, there's board games room, and there's like an art room for like designers can come in and use the facility. And there's a really cool like hipstery vibe in here, but not with the negative connotations that hipster is. Check out the show notes, guys. It's awesome. And thank you to this person. He knows who he is. The podcast has been saved.
Yeah, thank you so much, Clockwork Door.
He is now referred to as Clockwork Door. And I invited him on to say a few words to you, Bill, and the listeners, and he was too shy. So we thought that would be a nice way to repay this guy for his kindness, but he was like, no, I don't want to do that. So, but it's just great, and I feel so happy that this is happening, because otherwise that would have meant the complete death of Artifexian, and that would have been a sad time.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Cool. So that's first bit. I just want to say I've been recognized.
So it's the first. So did he go into the academy with the intention of finding you?
Partly. So he was going around Dublin, putting in flyers around the university saying that there is this time house that students can come to and study in quiet if they want and hang out. And then, but while he was there, he's kind of like, I know Artifexian works here.
And so, what did whoever was on the reception say to that?
They immediately got a phone call when this person walked in. So they couldn't say anything, but I got a little smile, and my boss has been teasing me now, like kind of mocking me and treating me like a little like minor celebrity, which is really fun. And it's really weird. Like I've been recognized twice before, but both times were in Google at a YouTuber's event, so it's not really the same thing. But this was a proper just going about your day, and suddenly you're like, hey, you're Artifexian. And it's like, what is this? What is this craziness? Oh, it's the best. It's the best. So yeah, people in Dublin, I'll leave links to the website to this place. You should come down and check this place out. Like it's free to come and like look around. Look around the place. Seriously, it is really cool. D&D nerds, this place is mecca, right? Like you can come here and just grab a table in a really cozy sort of thing and play a D&D game. This is brilliant. And people who aren't in Dublin, like our overseas listeners, go check out the website. I'll leave the Facebook page as well. Leave a like, just to show a bit of support, because this really does mean an awful lot to me, and I'm sure to Bill as well.
Definitely.
But anyhow, should we start the show proper?
Well, we've got more follow-up to do.
Well, yeah, but that's what starts the show proper, Bill.
Okay, cool. Right.
Okay. Do you want to start or should I start? What's up?
You started.
No, you're in charge. You're in charge. What are we starting with?
The next item on our follow-up is naming conventions based off real-life languages. And a follow-up about fonts and a follow-up about writing software.
So this is just little bitty bits of follow-up from the last show that I've kind of condensed into one thing that I want to semi-rant about and celebrate. Mm-hmm. Okay, so remember we talked about the problems with naming characters in the last show?
Mm-hmm. I do.
A lot of people were advocating. There seems to be two camps here of naming conventions. The mouthfeel camp, where you just make sounds and eventually the sounds seem right. And then there seems to be the camp whereby you take a foreign language and either directly take their words or manipulate those words. And I was thinking about this. I have a problem with the second method for naming a character. In that, like, say you write a story and, I don't know, say you have someone who is made out of stone and you call him Stein, as in the German Stein. Someone in Germany would read your book then and go, oh, that's a bit, I don't like that. And there seems to be an awful lot of advocacy for doing this, borrowing from other languages. And I'm kind of going, no, I don't think that's a good idea at all. And so I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I mean, it serves a very kind of specific literary purpose that's, what am I trying to say? Like, yeah, it's another way of exposing the underlying themes of the story. You give the hero some kind of symbolic name like heroic or light or whatever. But yeah, there's that problem that it's going to suffer in translation. Like if pick a language.
German.
Pick a non-English language, further away than German.
That we can speak, or just any language?
Any language.
Okay, Japanese.
Okay, so someone in Japanese writes a story and they give their characters all these names. Like we're going to think that's stupid. Like the main guy is called main guy, or whatever. But my actual main problem with it is that it just seems really kind of silly to me, because that's not how life works. People don't have names based on their roles and stories that happen in their life. They're just called like Dave and stuff. They're just called Kev.
But real life doesn't have symbolism.
Yeah, I know, and that's like that's the point. Like it really bothers my suspension of disbelief.
Okay. Yeah, I think it would bother my suspension of disbelief, but not for the reason that I think it's silly. I just think I'd be like, oh, that isn't of the world in which this work is set. That's clearly just a manipulation of German. Do you know what I mean? Or Japanese.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I see what you mean, yeah.
That thing bothers me.
I mean, if they're deliberately invoking, say, medieval Germanic aesthetics, or they're deliberately evoking feudal Japanese aesthetics or whatever, then that would bother me a lot less.
Yes.
Because, there's an aesthetic quality, there's a perceived aesthetic quality and connotations to those words. That's true. And because it's not modern, it's far enough removed that I can put back some suspension of disbelief. Yeah. But if it's just taking a modern language, I think, and just superficially manipulating a word, I had a problem with that. And lots of people were advocating it. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying that people are wrong.
Like, it's just that's just my feelings towards the
Yeah.
feedback we got. You know.
I'd just rather give them names that I think sound good and let other things sort themselves out afterwards.
You're on team mouthfeel.
Yeah, like I'm not averse to borrowing from other languages. It's just I'm not going to make them symbolically significant.
Yeah, so that was point one. Point two, fonts. We had a lot of comments in the sub that were like, Edgar, your thing about fonts, we're totally with you. We're totally with you.
Fair enough.
Ignore Bill. I want to bring this up because very often people are on the Bill camp with things like the Die Hard thing, where no one wants to accept that I'm right. And so when someone goes, no, Edgar, you're right in this case, I just want to flag it as a very, very, very small victory for Edgar, and I want to say thanks to the listeners.
I'll be honest, I probably overstated my own case, just in the spirit of conversation, but I will still stand by that it's not something I really care strongly about.
Yeah, and I even when we were having the conversation, I was like, oh no, I totally get where Bill's coming from. That's totally cool. I think another way, but it's fine. People have differing opinions. This is kind of what makes life really fun and interesting. But yeah, just wanted to flag that. And then the other thing I want to flag is the writing apps thing. I kind of regret having asked people to tell me what writing apps they use because, oh my God, everyone has their own special combination of how they write. And it's like, there must have been like 20-ish different apps mentioned in the sub. And I'm like, well, I've learned nothing here other than there are very, very many writing apps in the world. So I am sticking with my wiki system because I feel like there's no alternative. So just wanted to flag that as well. But the most important item of follow-up, Bill, is Temeraire Part 2.
Oh, okay.
We're going back to Temeraire. So the captain, on my request, read Temeraire.
Yeah.
The first book, His Majesty's Dragon. And the captain, her two main genres she reads in is period stuff and fantasy stuff. So this is Captain Gold right here, okay? And so she read it. We had a Skype call and she was like, Edgar, tell Bill that he's so very wrong about this book. And then I was like, I just wanted to pass on as well. I don't know, just to tease you a little bit. And she had the same really strong reaction. She was like, this dragon is so boring. I don't care about this dragon. And it was very funny. It was like listening to me talk back at myself. It's very weird. So on a more serious point though, I don't know. I think I realized that the captain's only one other person, but I don't know, man. I think this is actually an example of like period stuff just done not very well.
Could be.
Like, so what I might do is I might look at some other period stuff and see how I react to that, and whether it's the genre that is just like offensive to my sensibilities, or whether or not it's Temeraire and how that particular story is done. And the fact that the captain had a similar reaction to me makes me want to explore this a little bit more.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
But yeah, jeez, he's such a boring dragon. Anyhow, and that's Bill. I believe that's all a follow up.
Yeah, that's all that's on the list. Okay, let's go forge on to music corner. So, are we going to start with discussing the album, or are we going to choose a new one?
Let's start with discussing an album.
Okay. So, let's discuss that album, Edgar.
Man, I'm totally leaving that in. That was great. Okay, so we had to listen to Infected Mushroom, Army of Mushrooms.
Infected Mushroom is the artist, Army of Mushrooms is the album.
Bingo. And I'm assuming you did, Bill?
I did. I actually went and listened to it straight away after we recorded the last one, or like later that day.
Oh, huh.
Yeah.
It took me a while to get to it, but I did listen to all of it. What are your thoughts?
I really enjoyed it.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was great fun.
Okay, so I I found it like I like the last one. I was kind of like, yeah, it's really good music. I don't know. I found it hard to have a response. Like
Okay.
I listened a couple of times. It's kind of like, yeah, it's really cool dance music, and it's really head boppy, and there's cool sounds going on. And I was kind of like, but I don't know what to say about it. I really like the Pretender cover at the end.
Oh yes, I forgot. Yeah, it's been a little while since I listened to it fully through. I've listened to bits over the last week. I haven't given it a full listen to. Yeah, I did like the Pretender cover. I really like that original.
Yes, I was about to say that original is a great song, and when they covered it, they obviously did all their electronic stuff with it, but they did it really tastefully, and the song still sung true for what it was. Like it was really good. A negative point about this is, and like, oh god, it's very hard to speak about these things, but I'm just going to go for it. I love that they sang in Hebrew, but then I hated when they sung in English. Aside from Pretender, yeah, because I was like, oh man, are you kidding me? This is like Hebrew dance music. Give me more of the Hebrew dance music. And then when they sang in English, there's this terrible thing that happens to everyone in Europe when they try and sing in English, is that it just sounds really Euro poppy. And you're like, no, double down on your own language. Double down on your own language. But yeah, I really love the Hebrew parts. What did you like about it?
I like the overall atmosphere of it was kind of, I guess, kind of a little bit dark and aggressive. Like, the aesthetic feel, I mean, obviously, genre-wise and timbre-wise, it isn't this, but the kind of overall aesthetic atmosphere was quite metal.
Yes.
I felt, and that had me on board. I was like, yeah, no, I can engage with this on that level. It's dark and it's aggressive, and if I can contrast it with Oracle, it wasn't trying to do the genre bending thing that Oracle was doing. It was just, it was being electronic music and electronically produced sounds, and it focused on that, which made it sound more cohesive overall to me. So that was another point in its favor. And yeah, I thought they were well crafted songs. I thought they were fun. So yeah,
they're really well layered as well. Like,
yeah, it was excellently produced. I wouldn't consider myself an expert on that, so maybe I'm overstating the case a little, but like everything had its place in the mix and the sound. I felt like,
and there was a lot going on as well. Like if you stopped and really listened to it, you could hear loads of different melodies and bits happening. Like
and it was tastefully added. Like it was the way things built up was always very well done. I felt.
Yeah. No, I agree. But again, you see, like I taught all these things, but I was kind of like, this doesn't sound like feedback.
Right.
It just sounds like, yeah, no, it was great. It was good. I find it so hard to talk about this music because I don't know.
To talk about electronic music.
Yeah, because it's just kind of like, it's like head boppy music. Like if I'm in the mood to like do a task that it might be boring to do, you put on some electronic music and you like bop your head through the task. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. It's hard for me to engage upon it, with engage it in a critical capacity. But no, I liked it. It's good. So far, I think we're doing really well with the albums. Like,
yeah, definitely.
We haven't had a shocking one. And now, as I say this, I suddenly realize, oh God, people are going to start leaving comments being like, you should totally check out this album. And it's awful.
Like in an effort to get us to listen to bad ones.
Yeah, totally. Like fun trolling, I
love bad music.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you do like bad music. You know what I'm going to do?
But like it has to be like spectacularly bad, or it has to be like either just kind of like either spectacularly bad so it becomes like funny or interesting, or it has to be pretty bad but like really sincere or something.
You know what I'm going to do, Bill?
What are you going to do?
I am going to, without you knowing, well, no, you do know because I'm telling you, but without you knowing what it is, I'm going to add something spectacularly bad to the list.
Okay.
And we'll see if it comes up. And then the thing I have in mind, hopefully it'll give you great joy. Cool. If it comes, there's like zero emotional response. Like, cool. It's good.
Yeah, no, I'm down for that. Maybe someday I should do a bit on the podcast where I talk about some of the really bad music that I love.
I mean, we have Shit Flag Corner. We could have like Shit Music Corner.
We could, yeah, we certainly could.
Well, are you able to ramble on about shit music like extemporaneously? Can you do it now?
I can do a bit right now. Yeah.
Okay, all right, Bill. I think you should tell the listeners to direct their attention to something truly awful that is brilliant.
Okay. I'll keep this reasonably brief.
Okay.
In the 1970s, there was an orchestra called the Portsmouth Sinfonia. You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah. I know what you're going for. Oh man, listeners, you're in for a treat. Just keep going.
And I would highly recommend anyone to look on YouTube. There's a lot of their stuff is on YouTube. To look for the recording of Also sprach Zarathustra by Richard Strauss, which is very famous as the opening music from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
I will leave links in the show notes.
Bum, bum, bum. And this is a stunning experience because the premise of the Portsmouth Sinfonia was that you could only join if you could not play your instrument proficiently. So, you had people playing the violin who didn't know how to play the violin. Or you had people who were musicians playing instruments that they weren't familiar with. Or you just had people who had no previous music experience whatsoever. And this incredible thing happens. And you'll hear that. You'll hear it if you listen to that track that I recommended. I'm sure I go put the links as he said.
Oh yeah.
They play this iconic, really, really famous piece of music. And it's terrible. Like, they're not together. They're not, like, no one's in tune.
There's wrong notes.
There's wrong notes. Like, they're making horrible sounds. It's really ragged. But you know what piece it is. Like, pretty much everything that can go wrong goes wrong. It's an awful performance. But even though every single thing is wrong, the overall effect is something recognizable. You'll hear that and you'll say, yeah, that's the 2001 Space Odyssey music. I mean, you might go, wow, they're really butchering the 2001 Space Odyssey music, but you'll know what it is, even though everything is wrong. I'm fascinated by that on a philosophical level, like the philosophy of music. I just think that's so interesting there. And that's an example of something that is like, it's awful by any normal standards, but I really, really enjoy it.
I have seen Bill enjoy this in real life, and watching Bill enjoy this piece is one of the most enjoyable things a person can ever can ever sit through. It's great. Yeah, the listeners should check this out. It is quite magical. We should do this. We should make it. Yeah, we can have an addendum sort of to the music corner. We can have music corner where you tell us every month, Bill, about some other shocking piece of music we should listen to.
I've got a couple of blog posts on this topic that I haven't written on in a while, but we can throw those in the show notes if you want.
Yeah, definitely. It's great. I'm thinking of the piece now. I really want to go listen to it. I listened to it after recording. But anyhow, so we should pick the next album.
For sure.
Now, in an effort to save time, because we were meant to be under tough time constraints today, I went ahead and rolled the dice earlier.
Oh, okay.
And I kid you not, the number that came up was 12.
Why is that funny?
Well, because this podcast is in base 12. Everything I say to you, Bill, is like, rank this movie out of 12.
Oh, yes.
So I was so happy when it came up. It came up as 12, and that meant that the artist was, and I'm going to butcher this name, Eluvitai.
Okay.
And the album I chose, because the commentator only left the band. The album I chose randomly is Slania, something like that. Links in the show notes. I believe this is not dance music, which is great.
No, it's not dance music.
So we have something. Do you know these? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to rank them out of 12?
No.
Oh, you're not looking forward to this.
I hate them.
Oh Jesus.
So, I mean, sorry to the listener who suggested them. I haven't listened to them much, but anything I've listened to, I've absolutely hated.
This is fantastic. This is pretty. Apologies to the listener. I am going to go into this with an open mind. I'm going to have a listen, see what happens.
Yeah, no, please do. I mean, there is a very specific thing that I don't like that they do quite a lot of. So.
Oh, that's interesting. Maybe my homework can be try and figure out what Bill doesn't like about them.
I'm sure I've annoyed you about or given out about this before to you at some stage.
Okay. What's their genre? I believe I've seen metal, some metal, but what metal?
Oh well, this is kind of the answer to that question.
Okay, do you want to just tell me the genre, man?
Okay, it's folk metal, and I hate folk metal.
Oh, I didn't know this.
I absolutely hate folk metal.
You hate folk metal, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, this is great. I'm actually really excited about this album now.
And I've listened. I think I first heard them on TV. Like I saw them on some metal show, and it was like there was like really awful, what I thought was really awful electro stuff in the song as well, like a really kind of crap keyboard solo, and there was this like it was almost like a kind of a post-hardcore kind of breakdown bit. I really did not enjoy it. But I will listen to this with an open mind.
Bill, did you just say the word breakdown?
Yes, Edgar, I said breakdown.
Will there be breakdowns in this music?
I don't know. Maybe that was like just that one song, or
but
it wasn't like a Trivium breakdown. It was like kind of post-hardcore bit. It was I did not dig it.
But Trivium breakdowns are really good.
I know you love Trivium.
They're class. Anyhow, so we'll stick the links in the show notes to this. I am so looking forward to this. This is brilliant. Okay, right.
Me too, to be honest. I'm going to enjoy having to do this. And
also, once again, I want to reiterate, apologies to the commenter who left this. I'm sorry that Bill laid into your musical taste there.
What can I say?
You're that kind of guy.
Edgar.
Bill.
You are about... Sorry, I was yawning there. Pardon me. Edgar.
Do I bore you that much, Bill?
Yeah.
Go on.
You are about to undertake a rather significant thing.
I suppose I am. What are you referring to?
You are going to Scotland to give a TEDx talk.
Yes, I am going to Scotland on the 29th of October to give a TEDx talk in the University of Strathclyde, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, which is in the centre of Glasgow City.
Cool.
So the reason why I wanted to bring this up is to be like, hey, if we have any Scottish listeners, you should totally come by the university and listen to myself give a talk on world building and loads of other interesting people give talks as well. It'll be a fun day and it'd be cool having experienced meeting an Artifexian fan. It would be awesome to meet more Artifexian fans. So
definitely. That
is what I am doing, and it's terrifying.
You're gonna absolutely nail it, man.
I totally haven't. Oh god,
You're gonna knock it out of the park.
I'm so nervous. So a bit of background here. I narrowly missed out on a first on my degree. In no small part because I find it extremely difficult to memorize material. I had a lot of memory slips in my final recital, and that lowered my mark, and it wasn't great.
In your concerto? Or in your...
No, just everything, just across the board. It was I was never really able to churn out a not even flawless, but like a workman-like performance that went from A to B without stuff happening in between. I just always had memory slips. I was never really good at the memory thing.
Well, I thought you nailed your concerto personally, but that's just me.
Oh yeah, you were there.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, no, there's bits in that where I was like, oh, Jesus. But anyhow, so obviously if anyone's ever watched a TED Talk, you do it from memory. So I am nervously and frantically trying to memorize my talk, and I just hope to God it goes well on the day, man.
Can you take up even like cards with like reminders on them of like signposts in case you get derailed or stuck or whatever?
Like take up on stage?
Yeah, it's like little like things in your hand.
I reckon I don't know, and I reckon most of this sort of stuff will be established once we get into rehearsals.
Okay.
Like the TED crew, who have been awesome, by the way, at the university, might be like, look, listen, there's slips or whatever here. We'll do X, Y, and Z to alleviate that. But hopefully it'll work out. And then in classic, okay, so I'm not going to spoil what it is I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about world building, but I'm not going to spoil the exact topic of the talk. But in classic Edgar fashion, in order to accomplish this talk, I have like over excelled here, and I've created way too many slides. And I looked it up because I've never done a slideshow before, never done a presentation before, and I looked it up, and they were kind of like the general consensus was, between maybe 10 and 15 slides for a talk of about a half an hour or whatever is good. That's more than all you need. My talk currently is at 16 minutes, and I believe I have about 150. So, and it's weird because it's like I'm making the slides as if it was an Artifexian video, so it seems perfectly natural to me. But in terms of slideshow, it's not. So not only am I memorizing the actual words, I also have to memorize 150 clicks at the correct times. And it's like, it's either going to be brilliant or it will die a painful, painful death. But I'm on, I believe, let me just get out my itinerary here. I am in the university on the 29th of October. I am on at 11:30. So in the morning,
Cool.
if any Scottish folks are listening and would like to come and have a listen, please do. That would be an amazing thing.
Surely we must have some Scottish Artifexian fans.
Oh, we definitely have one Scottish Artifexian fan, but he's on the other side of the country.
Oh yes, yeah.
And I'm going over. I'm going to meet that said Artifexian. Actually, I don't know why we're being secretive. Bill has a brother who lives in Scotland, and we all used to live together. And because I'm in Scotland, I was kind of like, oh, maybe I can like get in extra travel time and look at the place and also say hi to your bro. So that has been established and is happening.
Cool. So how long are you staying there for? How long are you going to be in Scotland for? Like when you're going there. The day before, I assume.
Yeah, day before, and then I'm leaving the day after, late the day after. So the idea being, get a little bit of sightseeing in the day before, do the talk and the conference on the day, transfer over to Edinburgh at night, late evening, and then spend the day having a look around Edinburgh, and then flying back out of Edinburgh.
Oh, cool.
So it's a pretty hectic schedule, but it's all working out really well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just a kind of update and announcement sort of thing. And I suppose there's not really much else to add because I'm not going to talk about the talk. But just want to say thanks for the TED crew for reaching out and being like, hey man, you should totally do this thing. And they've been awesome so far. They've been really, really, really nice people. So they're cool. They're really cool.
Nice one. I'm really looking forward to hearing how it goes.
And eventually there'll be a video build so you can see how it goes. Oh boy,
yeah.
You can see how it goes. I had to give. No, I was dreading the epic failure I'll probably be.
All right.
I had to give a tiny sort of like a commencement speech is overplaying what it is, but I had to get up and talk in front of the students at the academy about what my purpose and role is. And oh Jesus, man, did I not give a good talk? So, but that wasn't prepared, nor was it memorized. It was just rambly. But anyhow. So there you go. That is TED. Short but sweet, but I think important and notable in my life, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's great, man. I'm really, I'm stoked for you.
Thanks, man. Shock horror, lads. We're going to talk about some world building. And in particular, we're going to talk about a video that I believe was made like 6 months ago or whatever, and it's called Middle-earth and the Perils of Worldbuilding by the Nerd Writer, who has quite a substantial channel. He's relatively well known, and this video is one of his most well-known videos. Mm-hmm. And someone in the subreddit last time asked us what we thought of this. And I had feelings, and I was like, let's make it into a main topic. I texted to Bill, and Bill was like, I too have feelings about this video. So we made it into a main topic. So do you want to give a summation as to what this video was about?
The nerd writer talks about what he calls, I think it's secondary worlds, which is just the phrase he uses for con worlds, I guess. And their role in fiction and concerns that he has about their prevalence in fiction.
Yeah, actually, without giving away anything, that's actually a really good summation of things. And it's a really well-made video, I just want to say. And I think his stuff is really good. It's quality produced. His writing, I think, is quite good. I didn't like the video. What are your thoughts on it? Like, I didn't like his message. What are your thoughts?
I didn't like the video.
You didn't like the video?
No.
Okay, do you want to explain?
So, I mean, I guess it would make sense for people to watch it. It's 5 minutes long, I guess, is with the kind of the guts of what he says. There's a bit of a, the usual YouTube spiel at the end. He talks about how when you make world building, or when you make a secondary world or a con world as the focus of your fiction, that you're driving people to find out more about the setting, and that's one of the things that draws people in, that they want to learn the histories, and they want to chronicle what happens in this alternate world. And he says that there's a number of false premises in this, that I think he uses the phrase that writing is a transaction between the writer and the reader, which is something I'm completely on board with. But he says there's a number of false premises in this undertaking of using constructed worlds as the basis of fiction. He says that you can't encode the world in language, that readers are never passive, because readers actually are the ones who are creating the text. By reading it, that is when the text actually happens. And so the sort of his claimed passivity of people who are just reading this to find out about the world is kind of a myth, because they're not passive. They are the ones who are actually creating it in the act of reading. And that it's a futile undertaking because all text are just rhetorical constructs, and we can be fooled into thinking that these are not rhetorical constructs.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But he doesn't actually say anything. He just says those things. He doesn't actually give any evidence or anything for them. And he never says in any way how that's different to reading a mystery novel or literary fiction. Because, you can't encode the world in language when you're writing a thriller, just as much as you can't encode a word in language when you're writing Lord of the Rings. He doesn't do anything to differentiate, to say why these claims are more true for fantasy or for world-built fiction than they are for any other kind of fiction.
Yeah, he certainly doesn't give case studies, at least in that initial point. That opening bit that you're referring to, that was a little bit hard to follow for me. There was lots of very not big words, but lots of artsy words thrown around that I was kind of it almost seemed like he was cloaking his points because there wasn't a point. And I think that's what you're getting at. There isn't a point. Do you know what I mean?
That hadn't occurred to me, but you may well be right. Yeah.
The way... sorry, go on.
I understood all of what he was saying. I understood what he meant with those points. If you take them as sole, individual items, devoid of the surrounding context of the video, the readers create the text. That's a pretty established thing. You will make your own interpretation. It will be different from everyone else's. Language is not a fixed thing, all that stuff. But it just didn't seem to have anything to do with what he'd said before.
Yeah, I totally agree. So what I got from it, now I'm liable to be very wrong here because I found it a tiny bit hard to follow, was that he says that in a work that is too world built, the world is too well developed, and it's developed to an extreme sense, the reader has nothing to create, and it doesn't inspire like this transaction between the author and the reader.
Okay, yeah, that seems like a reasonable interpretation of what he said.
And I was kind of like, well, that's nonsensical, because that implies that one can world build something so utterly and completely that the reader truly just becomes totally passive. Like, that's not a thing. Even if you dedicate like decades of your life world building a thing, what some person coming along picking up your book will find something new that you haven't considered and haven't fleshed out in detail, and they will think about it and create that in their minds. So he makes an argument that in order for the argument to work, it must have a 100% case, which it cannot have. So that bit I found a little bit kind of like, okay, this only functions if we can go to the extreme, and we can't. So I didn't like that bit.
And like, it's almost as saying more detail makes the actual fiction less real somehow. But like, we set fiction in the actual real world all of the time.
Yeah.
Like, I just finished reading a book that's set in Cornwall. Cornwall is a real place. So, like, all of that information that you would have to world build, hypothetically, is actually there.
Yes.
And that doesn't detract from it.
Yeah,
there's an utter disconnect. I don't understand it at all. Like, there's a complete disconnect from what he's saying and the point he's making, if you get me.
The real world is extremely well world built.
Yeah, like, there's some decisions I wouldn't have made personally.
No, like maybe mosquitoes, maybe not them. Like mosquitoes.
Yeah, malaria.
Yeah, that's
slavery.
Yeah. Humans, just we get rid of the humans, like, because they cause an awful lot of problems.
Some of my favorite people are humans.
It's just some of them. As an introvert man, I can tell you, humans, they aren't all that cracked. They're cracked up to be. But yeah, and he also goes on and implies almost that this need and lust that people have to find out every single little bit of details about the world, he frames that in a negative sense. And I'm kind of like, whoa, hang on now. You're kind of like hand-waving away all the fan fiction there. You know, You're kind of like, you're going, oh, you who want to explore this work further in your own works or whatever, don't do that. That is a bad thing. It's like he's holding up the work, the original work. Say, take Lord of the Rings, because he used this example in the video. You hold up that and you go, no, this is the way it is. You go no further in terms of like figuring out. And it was almost, what annoyed me as well, it's almost like an anti-education thing. Like, because remember, I world build to learn, right? So I'll pick up a book, read a bit, and then go, that's a really interesting system. Can that be explained by science? And then you put down the book and you think about it for ages and you learn and you study. But he's like, no, that drive to know everything about the world is in fact a negative one. And that I fundamentally disagree with. Like, I fundamentally disagree with that point. Like, that cannot be more wrong. Like, and I think objectively wrong. So I wasn't happy with that bit. And then, sorry, go on. You were going to say.
Yeah, the thing about the passivity and the drive to learn. Have I ever brought up before this thing about gendered fandoms?
No, I don't think we've really discussed fandoms.
Fandom is often quite a gendered thing. I read a Tumblr post or something about it a while ago, but the thrust of it was that there are two kinds of fandom.
Okay.
No, this is a bit of a generalization, but you can identify two tendencies within fandom, and they are to some extent quite gendered. Okay. There is the curative fandom, which is what he describes of people just wanting to find out everything, and the canon is sacred, and you don't want to interfere with that. You just want to like catalog the entire thing and edit Wikipedia and take all of the notes and learn all there is to be learned. Mm-hmm. And then there's a creative fandom, which is where you create stuff inspired by, or you use that as a starting point for your own creativity. And that leads to things like fan fiction, as you pointed out, or cosplay, or, I guess, you've got people who started bands based on Harry Potter and stuff. And that there's, to some extent, there's a gender divide there. That men tend to be more interested in curative fandom, and women tend to be more interested in creative fandom, or possibly the other way around, that creative fandom tends to attract women more. You could look at it either way, I guess. And he doesn't address that two modes of engagement at all.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't know this at all.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of fan fiction writers, or like the fan fiction community, tends to be female. Tends to be women.
I am not really involved in any fan fiction community, so I don't know. But that sounds that's interesting. You wouldn't. That's not something you would think of. You would immediately associate. You wouldn't say, oh, like, you know, people working at the peripherals of a known work tend to split up in gender like that. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's by no means like hard and fast.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And I can think of examples of like big works of. Well, I can think of at least one big example of fan fiction written by a man. But and obviously, you know, men do cosplay, and obviously there's women who edit Wikipedia and everything. But there seems to be some kind of broad divide there.
Yeah, and all that diversity and all that goodness you've just outlined, it's just like the nerd writer just hand waves, and it's like, it's all negative, and you're like, what? That's not a correct statement to make. He also goes on to talk about how now it's been a while since I watched the video, so I'm kind of remembering what my thoughts were. So they might be slightly wrong, and if so, I'll correct them next time. But he goes on to talk about how, again, this need to flesh out the details and catalog everything sometimes destroys the symbolism of a work. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, and I found that really like superficial, as in like symbolism can only exist on one level. And if you dig any deeper, the symbolism breaks. Like maybe, for example, the author or the creator of the work has put in multi-layered sort of things to deal with the world. Yeah. And the more you delve and the more you discover, the more it strengthens the symbolism. And it's like, it's so infuriating because he wraps it in really nicely written language. And this is why I said the point earlier. It's kind of like, I don't think he actually has anything valid to say.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't see how. I mean, how can I put this? Let's take Lord of the Rings. I don't see how going through it and you yourself looking for, you know, Aragorn's lineage and his history, and, you know, being really interested in that denigrates the symbolism.
Yeah, like
or the metaphors. They're
two entirely unrelated things.
Well, no, they are related things, like the symbolism and the lineage, because they're both part of the same work. But those are two unrelated events. Like,
yes, yeah.
Doing that and then that bad consequence happening, like, I don't see how they couple up at all.
Yeah, I'm totally the same. And I try to remain very objective when watching this and be like, okay, Edgar, pretend you don't have a world building channel. Try and be like a normal person. But even just from a logical standpoint, listening to the arguments he makes, they just didn't hold up. Like, topic aside, just didn't hold up. What did you think of, that's like the first 2/3 of the video are kind of this sort of thing. Yeah. What did you think of the final third where we bring in the idea of political world building?
Okay, so there's a quote here, which I took down. I took it down in shorthand, so I may not exactly get it right, but I think it's pretty much there.
Wait, can I stop you there for a second?
Yeah.
You took it down in shorthand.
Like, no, as in I abbreviated things as I wrote them. Like, okay. I don't know, like, stenographer shorthand.
Right. Okay.
So it's something to the effect of, the world building style of fiction only greases the wheels for its much more insidious and terrifying cousin, political world building.
Do you want to air your thoughts on that one before I do? What? I know, it's just ridiculous.
What are you on about?
It's like, for anyone who's who watched this video, there's like an abrupt gear change on that moment. And it's like all of a sudden, like, the topic has shifted. And you're like, how did we get here? What? Why are we talking about this?
And again, he says nothing to actually support that.
Yeah,
but he has a quote from a writer that he mentions a few times, which is like the creative minds behind L'Oreal are far beyond, or far upriver of J.K. Rowling and J.R.R. Tolkien, and nowhere near the creators of Coca-Cola or the Catholic Church. but he just presents that quote beside his thing about political world building and doesn't really engage in that much at all.
Yeah.
And it's and again, how is that any different to any other kind of fiction? What has world-built fiction got to do with it? Because you could write... Name any other genre, Edgar.
Steampunk.
Not world-building kind of stuff.
The crime. Real-life crime thrillers.
You could write an incredibly, politically motivated crime thriller. Of any, you write one about how capitalism is terrible. You could write one about how white immigration is terrible.
No, sorry, to just interrupt you, Bill. The thing is, I would be kind of on board with his point if that's what he was talking about. If he was talking about that somehow world building is used by politics, but it's not. There's no relation at all between reading a book and, say, the media feeding you political nonsense. There is no relation.
I see what he's saying. In that,
but
we see a perception of the world through media and through all that, and the same when we read a book, we see a perception of a world.
Yeah, but what he's saying is
that's a really tenuous link.
Yeah, but also what he's saying is if you have an imagination or too much of an imagination here, you're more primed for political world building.
I don't think about that. I think he meant that if you just accept that fiction uncritically, then you're likely to accept other things uncritically.
Okay, I see how that could be a point. Yeah, definitely. I still argue.
Again, it's got nothing to do with
world building. Yeah, but also I still argue that that's a statement that one should back up. You can say those things, fine, but that doesn't make them suddenly true. Do you know what I mean? I found the politics thing very jarring. It
was a really weird change in tone topic.
Now I'm gonna go on about that in a second, but just because before I forget, the author thing, he drops in a couple of quotes from that one author.
Yeah.
Just as a sort of I don't know, as someone who really appreciates videos that present an argument and make you think and want to change your mind, things like that. I don't know, just a bit of tip for the nerd writer. Try and bring in more quotes from more disparate people. If it's all the same guy, it's kind of has he read the one work by that one guy and now he's recycling it into a video? I would have loved to have seen different views worded differently by different people on this topic, but because it was always the one person, it seemed like I don't want to denigrate his work to the level of reading a Wikipedia article, but it kind of seemed like that. It's I read this one thing, and now there's a video about it, and that's not great if that's what's happened. I'm not saying it is, but that's not great. On the politics thing, though, and this is the thing I have the biggest problem with, is that his channel predominantly, according to my recommendations, I'm not subscribed to him, seems to be one that deals with politics a lot. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, he has a really cool video about analyzing Trump's speech patterns and the language he uses. It's very interesting. But it seems to be that's his thing, doing politics stuff. And then once I realized that, it's kind of he's just working it in because that's what he does. You know what I mean? It's everything is about politics. This world building, cool, let's make it relevant to politics. Or, paintbrushes, let's make them relevant to politics. And, the cup of tea, that is also relevant to politics. And that seemed tenuous. And I think that's the reason why there was such an abrupt change. It was he linked it back to his home turf.
Okay. So I might just be lacking in context there, that he talks about politics. So someone who was more familiar with his work wouldn't have been as put off by that gear shift.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't. Okay, but I still think the gear shift is bad because it's linking two disparate things. It's wanting to associate A with B, even though A and B may not necessarily be associative. You know what I mean?
And not doing any work to demonstrate the association.
Yes, exactly, because it so quickly changes. Then you're into politics, and it's sort of it's framed in such a way that you can't disagree with it. It's he makes points about how the media presents a fictional form of the world. And you're yeah, no, that's true. And then the next point is also true. And then the following point is also true. But it's nothing is gelling and forming a coherent thing. It's just, I don't know. I found that I've as someone who likes world building and enjoys delving into detail and enjoys Wikipedia and fan fiction, I found it a little bit offensive.
And one of the final quotes of the video is something that we should seek fiction that rattles our perspective and exposes false fronts and etc. etc. But he never makes the case that world building fiction can't do that. He just kind of states it. He just kind of lays it out there. Oh well, instead of world building, have you thought about that? But like, obviously, world building can do that, because by creating other situations, you can explore things that didn't happen. Alternate history can do that, or you could explore a world in which things are radically different, and how people interact in that can hold a mirror up to our beliefs, etc., etc.
Bingo. You can set up a world. You can construct a setting, like a geography of a setting, that forces you to hold a mirror up to our world and analyze it. That's 100% like geofiction can do that. Dune, he mentions Dune in the video, and he should have followed up on it. Dune is the perfect example of that. Like that, the Arrakis, the planet, is world built to within an inch of its life. Like, that the author's been doing a lot of work fleshing out and making it real. But you're still challenged on themes of environmentalism, of like mysticism and things like that.
Fundamentalism.
Yeah, exactly. You've religious elements coming in, and even despite of the fact that the Dune series is world built heavily, like, and I think, and that's really infuriating, because he brought it up. He brought up Dune, but he didn't follow it up, and he didn't even make the connection that the thing he brought up demolishes his argument. It's like, oh man, no, nerd writer, this is not good. I don't like it. And like, it's, I don't know. I was a little bit angry at the end of it. And especially because it's my hobby, and I was like, oh god damn it.
I was just more kind of bemused. I was just like, what is this?
It's a thing that I worry about a lot in online video, because like it's so, like, YouTube videos are so well edited these days and cut together, and they're short and snappy and worded really slickly. And I think there's an awful lot of stuff that we, and I'm guilty of this as well, listen to that's like contentless, And because of the way it's presented, and we're imperfect humans, we accept it and nod along and things like that. And it's like, I don't know. It's almost like the point he was trying to make is his own video. Like,
that would actually be quite clever if it was like a deliberate kind of meta commentary on it itself.
Do you think that's the case?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't either.
And it kind of annoyed me, because now again I'm saying this is the person who world builds a lot and like puts it in the drawer and doesn't put any of it out there for public consumption. But as I think I've said before, the entire premise of my main world building project is that everything the reader reads is an in-universe artifact. So you never have this neutral external Earth observer. You only are seeing things from perspectives of characters within this setting. So the entire point of it is that they're all unreliable narrators, because they're flawed mortals. They're all going to be subject to their own political biases.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the point of, I don't know of anyone else who specifically does that. I'm sure it's not a particularly original idea. I'm sure there are other works that have explored this. But like, I'm doing the exact thing. I'm explicitly exploring what he says world building denies.
Yeah.
And to go back to the fan fiction example, The Last Ringbearer is a riff off this. The Last Ringbearer, we talked about this before, I think.
Yes, this is the one where it's Lord of the Rings, but written from the view of Sauron's side.
Yeah, and I think it's set in the aftermath.
Yes.
I've only read a tiny bit of it, and like its kind of premise to us is that Lord of the Rings is a propagandized mythology. So it's written by the victors, and it like elevates all of the characters to this like noble position when they were just a side in a conflict. Yeah. And obviously it demonizes the other side. And so he's like, the guy who wrote that is explicitly like rattling the perspective both of Lord of the Rings as a text, and of mythology and how we approach mythologies as political text, because all texts are political by some analysis, and it kind of all texts in general. It forces us to think about all texts in general.
Yeah,
and their political biases.
There is a multitude of examples.
Yeah, so that's obviously just like the first one that came to mind. I'm sure there are plenty others.
But that's indicative of what's going on here. Like you one popped into your head, and you're like, that's a counterexample. And like there's loads more, and I'm sure like listeners will be able to list out a whole loads of them. It's like I don't know.
And another one on like the idea that like the analysis takes away from the symbolism or whatever. Have you read any more Wheel of Time?
I have not.
Okay, well I'm not going to spoil anything here.
Okay.
But the way they've mentioned the Aiel a few times.
Oh, the Aiel. Who's the Aiel?
You haven't met them. You haven't met them where you are, but they're a kind of a fierce warrior race who live in the desert.
Okay, all right, grand, yeah.
So say you've read a few of the books and you become really interested in the Aiel, and you want you read up all about the Aiel and what's going on with them, and you kind of catalogue that, or even if say Robert Jordan had decided that he was going to write a separate thing which was like a history of the Aiel, and detailed their things very 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 minutely, which I guess he does over the course of the books, between various things. Like none of that takes away from say the Masonic symbolism in the Wheel of Time. Like that's all still there.
Yeah, there's no erasure is going on.
Yeah.
By exploring, like that I see this sort of like looking at things in detail and exploring into it as like an additive thing. It adds to the experience. It cannot detract.
Yeah. Like and even if it does detract for some, I mean, like different people like things different ways.
Yeah,
deal with it.
People are different. Like there's nothing you can do about that. Just on the point about you mentioned a second ago about how your writing thing may not be original.
Yeah.
Because of watching this video, I was like, do you know what? I should read Dune, because I watched that really terrible movie version of it ages ago, and I was like, it might be an idea to read Dune. So I began reading Dune, and it was really cool. Have you read Dune by any chance?
I've read the first 3 books a good while ago.
Grand. So
the first 3 of the original series.
At the start of every chapter, at least I think they're chapters because I'm doing it an audiobook, you have little excerpt read by the Princess Irulan. And I was like, oh, it's Bill's a little bit. And I keep that every time it came on, I was like, oh, that's Bill's little writing. It's the italics bit that go in before the main text. And the way
your favorite bit in anything I write is the italics.
Yeah, exactly. And the way it was done as well. In the audiobook, there was like they put on, it was a big production, this audiobook. So every time the Princess Irulan came on,
like it was like a cast recording kind of.
It's a cast recording, yeah, and there was like special effects in the background. It just helped further cement this idea that this bit of text is written in italics. And every time I just thought of Bill. And it was it was stuff like, again, if you've read it, you notice it was stuff like, from collected sayings of Muad'Dib.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh man.
Extracts from the Orange Catholic Bible.
Exactly. And I was like, this is straight out of Bill Land. Like, it's straight out of Bill Land. I loved it. What do you think of Dune? Do you have any, any memories?
It's been a long time since I've read it. I remember really enjoying it when I read it first. I think there's a lot of very interesting stuff there. But I thought have you finished it?
I am nearly finished the first book.
Okay.
Spoilers?
No, not spoilers. I wasn't a big fan of the ending.
You weren't a big fan of the ending. Well, is it a book that's meant to end? I mean, define.
There's a final page.
No, but I mean okay. All right. Let me rephrase. Were you unhappy with the fact that it just didn't finish? Like it didn't seem like it came to a full stop.
No. There was a satisfying dramatic conclusion.
Okay.
The arc comes to a decent resting place.
Okay, you're just not happy with what that resting place was.
Not No, more than that. We'll talk about it another time when you finished it.
Literally, I have about 3 hours left to go in it. So
Okay.
yeah, cool. I enjoy it so far. I really enjoy the world building. Like, there's so many exquisite little details about how like they conserve water and all the different ways.
The Fremen are cool.
Yeah, all the different ways in which the Fremen can survive and thrive, and that's great.
I find the Bene Gesserit, I don't know how it's pronounced. How's it pronounced in the audiobook?
Bene Gesserits.
The Bene Gesserits.
Yeah.
I find them really interesting. And obviously there's a lot of kind of gender stuff there, which I would probably find interesting on a more mature reread. I don't know how much you know about that side of things at this point, but there's just really cool details about them and how they operate have been woven into it.
Yeah.
I remember one thing that really annoyed me.
Okay. Which is?
At the start. And this is a thing that occasionally happens in other books, but this is a really strong example. So mild spoilers for the first couple of chapters. What's Atreides is the main guys?
Atreides, as House Atreides, yeah.
So the Harkonnens that kind of engineer the downfall of House Atreides near the beginning, and this is kind of what sets off the main events, by turning their doctor against them, turning House Atreides family doctor against them.
Yep.
It's kind of like that. And what annoyed me there was they set up in the text that the conditioning that the doctors get, that they will never harm a patient and they'll always serve and they'll always go to heal, is set up as unbreakable.
Yeah.
The doctors will never be turned. It's just this really strong conditioning. And then the first thing that happens with that is it gets broken. And I was like, well, that completely, why did you even bother setting that up as unbreakable if the first thing you're going to do is break it? And that, therefore, it has no impact. The fact that they broke the unbreakable thing has no impact because we've never had any other interaction with it before. So it completely fails as a dramatic moment for me.
Right. That's true. That's not the problem I have with that bit. The problem I have with that bit is that it was announced to us who the betrayer was. And it's like, my God, why did you have to tell us that it was the doctor? Don't do that. Just let us all go along, read the book and think everything's okay. And then bam, we have a betrayer. It was signposted. Signposted is the wrong word. We're told outright at the start that this is a thing. And you're like, well, thanks for killing all of the buzz,
I watched a film the other night, which has a similar bit in it. Well, not similar in that sense, but kind of a dramatic moment that I really questioned the wisdom of.
Okay.
And
the film is?
There's this series of books I really like by an author called Lee Child. Okay. And they're the Jack Reacher stories. There's about 25 of them. We'll rake of them now. I think I've read all bar one of them, and they're kind of crime novels. And the main character he's essentially what you'd get if you got Robert E. Howard, the creator of Conan, to write Sherlock Holmes. So he's at once he's this great detective, but he's also this huge male power fantasy. Okay. Yeah, and I find this really interesting. And completely unashamedly, I really enjoy this. There's how utterly naked he is about it being just, I'm a massive badass. I'm going to punch anyone who disagrees with me. Because I really like Conan the Barbarian. I'm really interested in kind of those sort of portrayals of masculinity.
Do you? Do you? I've never heard this before.
I love Conan. I love Conan the Barbarian.
You've never talked about this before, man.
Have I not? No. Oh no, I find it really, really interesting.
Yeah, never on the podcast. Never.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm a big fan.
Bill, never change, man.
Why?
Just never. Go on, keep going.
And the whole thing, this is a slight digression, but the whole thing about this character is that he's 6'6", he's a massive dude, and he weighs 200 pounds or 250 pounds. He's a massive, physically imposing man, and he's an incredible physical competent. Okay. And the whole thing about him, and the author is on record as saying that this physical side of the character is a metaphor for unstoppable force. And that's kind of what he represents. And he overcomes all of the obstacles put in his way, both through his like investigative and his powers and his wit and his psychology, and through his just sheer physicality.
Right.
In the film, he's played by Tom Cruise.
That's brilliant.
And it's so absurd. Like, I mean, and like Tom Cruise is a fine actor. I like Tom Cruise. It's just such a weird casting choice.
Wait, hold on. What's the name of this movie, man?
So the movie is called One Shot.
One.
Oh no! It's called Jack Reacher. Sorry, it's called Jack Reacher. The book it's adapted from is called One Shot.
So, Jack Reacher. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I really enjoy these novels. Like, you could read them in a day. I often get one in an airport when I'm traveling, and I'll read it before the end of my trip. And they're good mysteries a lot of the time. So, I mean, some of them are a bit naff or whatever. But they're solid mysteries, and like I really like this kind of absurd masculinity of it. And I don't mean that in an ironic way. I genuinely really find it very interesting. But okay, so the premise of this specific story, One Shot, or the film Jack Reacher, is a sniper shoots 5 people in a downtown city somewhere in America.
Okay.
And this guy, this Jack Reacher, gets involved in the investigation through various ways, and part like there's like it's like from the start you see who, or they have the suspect. They have the suspect who did the shooting.
Okay.
And over the course, because it is a mystery, there's kind of a bit of ambiguity. There's, oh wait, did he actually do it? And there's all this evidence, but did he actually do it or whatever?
Turns out.
And in the film, you see who pulls the trigger at the very beginning.
Oh no.
No, like you might forget his face or whatever, and then you later on, you won't. Oh well, was it that guy?
No.
Well, I was kind of thinking, because I'd read the book, I was thinking, oh, how are they going to do this? Because for ages they didn't show the face, and then like they did, like still really close to the start, and I was like, oh, okay, well now I know who it is that pulled the trigger, so what happens from now on doesn't have any ambiguity for me. It's solved.
No, I'm not down with that at all. That's silly. But like, and it seems like such a basic thing, like to just suspend that. Like, who sits around?
You could totally have shot that scene, like 1,000,000%. You could have shot that scene without giving the shooter's face.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, who sits around a table, like a writer's room, and goes, "Do you know what we're going to do? We're going to need to spoil this right here, right now." Like 15 minutes in, you're like, no, just don't.
Not like 3 minutes in. When I say for ages they didn't show his face, it was long. I guess it was long enough for me to say, oh, they're not showing his face. That's clever, given how the plot goes. But no, they just kneel down and you see his face.
That's totally poor.
But and I guess it's completely off topic. But since we're talking about the film now, it's a pretty fun film. It's okay. It's worth a watch for a kind of an action movie. There's one really, really good scene in it.
Okay.
Where there's a car chase. And it's quite long. It's a good few minutes long. And there's no dialogue or anything.
Hang on. Okay, to get the length here, what is it in relation to the Matrix car chase? That's how I gauge all these things.
I saw that film when it came out, dude. I haven't seen it since.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. How long is the car scene in The Matrix?
Well, it just feels obnoxiously long.
Well, I really enjoyed this scene anyway.
Okay, right.
It's pretty long and it's gripping and stuff, and there's absolutely no dialogue in it. It's all just done from like the main character in the car, like chasing a guy and also being chased by another guy. And you don't see any of like where the bad guy has gone. You only kind of see it from Reacher's point of view. And everyone is like a bit crap at driving. Like they crash loads and they bump into each other, and they it's not like real slick driving, and like the car is battered by the end of it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's a really good scene.
Yeah, that is good. Like it I know I've said before I like my slickness and I like things being slick, but like 9 times out of 10 you want to bring in a real world sort of thing. Things in the real world get damaged, broken, and bumped and grazed, and it's not going to come out. You're not going to come out of a car chase in the real world with a pristine car at the other end.
Exactly.
So-
That kind of wushu, Crouching Tiger, perfection ballet stuff. It has a place, but for me, 9 times out of 10, something grittier will always win for me.
Yeah, it has a place when the work itself explicitly sets it up as a part of the world.
Yeah.
Like when you...
I mean, I guess you could use it for dramatic effect, like, suddenly, it becomes balletic, the violence becomes balletic, and then everyone is like, oh, that was crazy, what the hell's going on? You could use it that way, but I guess that falls under what you're saying, explicitly set it up as a thing.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Whereas if you're watching Die Hard and suddenly you have a stylized car chase, where...
And no one ever mentions anything about it, it's just kind of left hanging. That
Exactly,
would be really
and
weird.
no one crashes. There's hardly any...
It'd be a really jarring experience, like if you were to bring up politics in the middle of a world building video.
Boom! Look at that. Jeez, man, I'm impressed, man. That was some good callback right there. Okay, I was trying to, while we're going on your massive tirade there, I was trying to figure out the duration of the Matrix highway scene. This is not a thing a quick Google can fix. I will be back with follow up on this because I should actually find out the time, because that was my duration. I was always kind of like, what fraction of a Matrix chase is this chase, and ergo is it good or bad for that reason?
Edgar, in films when characters go underwater, do you ever try to hold your breath for as long as they have to?
No, Bill. Do you do this?
Oh, no, me neither.
Okay.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Do you do it all the time? But
yeah, it's great fun.
Okay. But you realize though, Bill, like that leaving aside the fact that they're usually in water longer than humans can do it, there's also like a film can also leave out bits that happen. Like there could be cuts and edits, so maybe the character's in there longer too. It's impossible to gauge. You cannot take what's on screen as being reality.
Pretty sure you can.
I'm pretty sure you can't, man.
And also the other side of that is like they're usually engaged in some kind of like physical exertion, whereas I'm just sitting on the couch.
Yeah,
So I'd be able to hold my breath longer because I'm not actually using up all my oxygen, exercising.
I remember many years ago when David Blaine did his stay in the water tank thing. And I remember watching the documentary of how he prepared for it and attempting to follow along with some of his training procedures. And he was like, oh, I just like, I was doing a brief workout-y thing and whatever, and I'm now ready to hold my breath. And he holds his breath for like a minute or whatever. And then I'm there, like, get to about 20 seconds. And I'm like, Jesus, how is he doing this? Like, it's crazy. I think I have a disproportionately low capacity for breath holding.
Right.
I'm not good at it.
Yeah, I've got really big lungs. I know I do because I like I'm not boasting. Ladies, I've got big lungs. Like I went to like a science fair thing like maybe like 10 years ago, and there was like a lung capacity test, and I was like it blew a big lung capacity. So. And also, from playing wind instruments, I'm able to take large breaths and kind of control some of that stuff, which is weird because I get I get very short of breath quite often.
Really? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think I might like have some kind of asthma or something.
Huh. Well, there you go. Do you know what? Just while have we finished the podcast?
I guess we're kind of in the green room now.
I feel like we've kind of finished the podcast a little bit.
We were on like office chairs, and we've slowly moved ourselves into the green room.
We have, and no one's talked about it. It's become really awkward, and you're like, should I bring up the fact that we're in a different room? So the running shtick, right? Oh, yeah. But man, I ran a 5K. Did I tell you I ran a 5K?
No, but I saw your picture on Facebook. Nice one, man.
Thanks, but I didn't put that on the podcast, no?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, here we go. Let's do take 2 in case we did. I ran a 5K, Bill.
Cool.
And so I ran it in slightly under my personal best. It was great fun. People who plan on going running or want to aspire to go running can just enroll in a race. It is awesome. The concept of passing people out is just the most fun thing in the world. It's like real life gamification. It is brilliant. And the thing is, though, you don't even need to be fit to like get this buzz of beating others, because in any 5K that's not like an athletic meet, you're going to have walkers and runners, and you can just like pass them out even if you're ridiculously unfit. So it's great crack. Anyway, the reason why I bring up this running crack is because I have gotten into like learning about how runners function and what they do. And I have been measuring my resting heart rate.
Yeah.
And the idea being the lower your resting heart rate, the more effective your circulatory system is. And I am, according to Google, below what is normal, which is great. And I was amazed, because it was like, Jesus, like 13 years of smoking, and then suddenly you start doing a bit of exercise, and it's like, and now, body, we are repaired.
That's why you couldn't match David Blaine's breathing exercises.
Well, that helps. I was doing the opposite of you. You were training up your lungs, and I was slowly crushing them. But the interesting thing I found out, though, is like, so how low can this go? Apparently, like elite African runners are taken at a very, very young age, and I think it's in Ethiopia or whatever, because of the sort of geography they have. They're taken at a young age and trained in like up in the highlands, so in thin atmosphere, and they're put through this training regime whereby they have a heart rate, if what I've read is true, of something like 28, 30 beats a minute if they're just at rest, which for any normal person means you're dead. And for them, it's like, oh no, I'm chilling, man. And like that sort of thing is actually crazy. Like, and it's
amazing, isn't it?
It so is like, and I was taking my pulse, and I was kind of like, take the pulse you got, Edgar, and then imagine half of it, and you're like, that's a zombie. Like, it's absolutely mental. Like, and then the ability to run a kilometer in something like 2.5 minutes. It's like, man, what is this even like? God, humans are amazing. Like, crazy.
Pretty great.
Well, actually, no, we're not pretty great. We can do physical things quite well. We're generally quite bad. Like, we destroy our environment and things like that.
Yeah, no, like we're impressive, I guess, is what I meant.
Yeah, impressive is a good word. Yeah.
I don't know how much of this was artificially aided, but Lance Armstrong has a resting heart rate of like 32 beats per minute.
That's crazy.
It's amazing. Like, I mean, I think I know he's a massive doper, but like cycling is really, really, or was at the time really, really dirty anyway. So everyone else was doping and he beat them. So he was like had better doping, or like everyone was doped equally, and he's just still like a genetic freak or whatever, or some kind of combination there. I think he is like known as a kind of phenomenal athlete besides his doping.
I think what he did was wrong, obviously, and I think it's terrible for the people he competed against. Because you're kind of like, could I have won if the playing field was level? Like, that's not cool.
Yeah.
But I think he's the case in point for just having the doping Olympics, and this has been talked about before. So I'm not going to dwell before on other podcasts. I'm not going to dwell on it. But like, just think of the advancements. Like, we could have someone run the 100 meters in like 3 seconds. Like, wouldn't that be amazing to watch? And then think of like the medical advancements you have to make to continuously concoct better and better drugs to make you go faster. It's just brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, we might even end up spawning this like hybrid race of humans that are just like superheroes. We'll end up creating superheroes, Bill.
Yeah.
Like, why this isn't a thing, I just don't know. Like,
just give everyone cheetah genes.
yeah, man, that'd be great. We could strap people to cheetahs and have them go. That would be a great event, like cheetah horseback riding. That'd be awesome. Sorry, I'm getting way too giddy. Do you know what would not be awesome? Actually, and it isn't even awesome in the actual Olympics. Like the animal dancey events, like with the little horse and it does his little dance.
Dressage.
Yeah, what's going on there? Like,
I've never really watched it. It kind of seems like I don't know anything about it, and I always thought that it seemed just kind of silly or whatever. But I mean, I don't know. I guess there must be something to it because it's really popular.
But who came up with the decision to be like, do you know what we'll do? We'll make the horse dance, and then we'll sit around.
It's military drills.
It's military drills for the horse.
Yeah.
For the horse.
I think so.
But what's that going to do in battle? Like, if your horse can dance?
No, like it's like control of the horse, and it's like basic maneuvers that would be used like in formation. when like marching or whatever information, and then maneuvering on a battlefield and stuff. I think is kind of the origin of dressage.
Bill, if you've got like that sort of like minute control over your horse, do you think it's? I realize you don't do dressage, so just go with me here. Do you think it's going to actually help on the battlefield? Do you not think the horse is just going to get freaked and like leg it?
Well, no, because they're trained. Like, I'm not just going to take any old horse and take it into the battlefield. Obviously, you have like a horse that's trained to be around other horses and gunfire and stuff.
Oh yeah, okay. So they just find those things normal. Yeah. Because I was about to say, if you the horse are looking across enemy lines at a line of other horses coming at you with like bloodlust in their eyes, would you not be like, I think I might get out of here today? But yeah, no. Obviously, the training would help. But there you go. Anyhow, man, the nonsense we talk about, you know what?
The discipline has a rich history with ancient roots in the writings of Xenophon. Okay, that's pretty old.
Is this dressage?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So that goes back to 430 BC.
Making
But
horses.
it doesn't actually say what the history of it is here specifically.
Do you know who would back that up? Do you know who would back that up with facts?
Who?
The Nerd Writer.
Edgar, don't be mean. Like.
I told you I didn't like the video. Sorry.
It seems to be some kind of thing on that, I guess. It's like a demonstration of skill at horsemanship, I guess. And to be able to control the horse on like minute movements. If you had to do an Olympic event, Edgar, what would you do?
If I had to... Okay. Now, we're going to have to set parameters for this question, right?
Okay.
Are you asking, like, what's the end game here? Are you asking, like, what event would I do to do well in? What event would I like to do? Because they're two different questions. Like, I could.
What event would you like to do? Like, what would you think would be a cool thing to do and a cool like skill to have, where you could be like, yeah, I am a good athlete at this event, and that's cool.
Oh, let me think now. Okay. I probably like marathon running, because like the concept of being able to run distances unfathomable to like 99% of the population is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, it's not the most amazing thing, but like, I don't know, maybe fencing would be good. It'd be good to know how to use a sword.
I mean,
I don't know, but to be fair though, like all the interesting things kind of aren't in the Olympics. You know,
like what?
Like I don't know, jousting, or what's called like medieval combat, or
So you go to Russia and sign on in that is it K1 have the hold on, I'll look this up.
K1.
Sorry, there's a Russian MMA promotion that has like swords and armor like division.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
No, it's not. It's stupid.
Polar bear wrestling.
M1. Sorry, it's M1 is the promotion. And they
Go on.
they're like, you know, they're like the UFC or something, like a mixed martial arts promotion company, and they have I think like a knights fighting. So you have armor and you have a sword and a shield and things.
Bill,
but that's stupid.
That's excellent. What are you talking about?
No, it's stupid.
Why is it stupid?
Because swords aren't designed to fight people in armor. If you fight someone in armor, you use like a mace or something, or a halberd, like something that can pierce armor. Swords are really bad against fighting opponents in armor.
Okay. So it's a good idea, just poorly executed.
Well, I mean, like, I don't think there's any real good way to do that, because like armor is really expensive. So if you were sending people in to actually hit each other with maces, then it would be like implausibly expensive to upkeep. And also super dangerous. So maybe it kind of makes sense in that way. You're hitting each other with swords. You can't really do that much damage because you've got armor. So it makes sense in that way. But again, like, I don't know. It just seems kind of like futile to me for that reason.
I have more athletic things that I would do.
Yeah?
The aforementioned polar bear wrestling would be excellent. And then also...
That isn't an Olympic event, Edgar.
Bill, dream big, okay? Dream big. Like bungee jumping, like extreme bungee jumping, that should be in the Olympics.
How do you make that competitive?
Who can bungee jump from the highest height before chickening out? I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? Or you could have like, oh, do you know what you could have? Oh man, this would be awesome if you had highest. If you could have skydives without parachutes, and then you make it competitive by awarding the gold to the person who can go the highest without dying upon impact. Like, because there was a thing that happened recently that was a thing. Someone jumped out of a plane and they landed on a big massive net and they had no parachute or no nothing.
Oh, I saw that. That was class.
Yeah. No, what you need to do is you need to make that a competitive competition. That'd be awesome. What would you do in the Olympics, Bill?
This is going to be a slightly cheaty answer, but I'm going to go with it, right?
I said polar bear wrestling, man. I think your answer is going to be better than mine.
I'm going to say two events. One of them Summer Olympics and one of them Winter Olympics.
Okay. Beach volleyball.
In the Summer Olympics, I would go for the modern pentathlon.
Jesse says the modern
pentathlon. Or pentathlon. That's how it's pronounced. Or how it's written, rather.
Okay, now while I'm looking this up, why? What are the 5 events here?
The 5 events are fencing, swimming,
right,
show jumping, and then a combined event of pistol shooting and cross-country running.
Who came up with this? Like, what is...
It's all of the skills that a soldier would require.
Okay. Well, that's interesting.
Isn't it? Isn't that really cool? And they're all like cool... Well, I'm not really bothered about swimming, but they're all like kind of cool individual things. You know, fencing, using a sword, that's pretty... Well, I mean, I don't know much about fencing as a sport. I don't think it's actually got that much to do with battering lads, but, show jumping, if you're on a horse, if you're in the cavalry, or if you like get stranded and need to steal a horse, that's jumping over obstacles and evading your pursuers. And then obviously pistol shooting and running. You need to be fit. You might need to run away. And pistol shooting is obviously you will have a pistol, or at least as an officer you would.
That makes sense. I'm with you on that. I think I didn't even know that there's a distinction between pentathlon and modern pentathlon.
I forget, the Greek one is like shot put javelin, so it's a similar kind of thing. It would have been soldiery skills for the classical hoplite or whatever. What's
the winter one? Jesus! No, he said it. I was going to make a thing. You already are an Olympian.
Why's that?
Don't you have an Olympic gold medal in tiger wrestling?
Tiger wrestling, yeah.
Tiger wrestling. Is it?
See, I was gonna bring that up, but then I only remembered that after you said polar bear wrestling, and I thought it might seem like a bit cheap as kind of a riff off yours. That's in my Artifexian bio, isn't it?
I believe that is in the bio we have on the thing, the website. Would you like to inform people of your other achievements you have accomplished in your life? I feel it's noteworthy.
I can't remember what else I have up there, man, to be honest. I'm sure some of them are non-spurious, but...
Okay, well, I want to just give a shout out to the fact that Bill is you're a fighter pilot?
I'm a fighter pilot, yeah, I'm a fighter pilot.
Fighter pilot, yeah. The only fighter pilot to hold 3 Olympic gold medals in tiger wrestling, I believe, is what is on the official
CV.
Yeah,
that sounds right. Yeah. That sounds right.
That's good. Man, Bill, you're some man, some man.
I think I have that listed as my work on Facebook now.
No, do you?
Fighter pilot, I think so.
It's not even funny, because that's what you do,
No, I came clean.
Yeah, totally. You get it out there, But I love the way you're sweeping the tiger wrestling under the rug slightly, because you don't want to be too boastful about your amazing.
Yeah, that's why I didn't go to Rio this year.
You didn't go to? Yeah, that's right. I was looking for you on the telly. I was like, "Where's Bill?" He's not talking to me. I was like, "What's this?"
Man, can we say something less stupid? I'm feeling really embarrassed about how stupid this is.
What? You're always up for the... No, again, we read the podcast like half an hour ago.
But this is going into... none of this going into the green room?
Is this really going into the green room?
I assumed it was.
Up until the point where it got a little bit too silly for you.
No, put that in. Absolutely put that in.
Bill, nothing is ever too silly for you. You're the silliest person I know.
Here. Do you want to know what my second one is?
Yes, please.
It's the winter biathlon.
The winter biathlon. Okay. Winter biathlon. Oh God. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. This is a cross-country skiing and rifle shooting. Why is this what? Why is this a thing? Oh, I've seen this before. This is the oddest thing in the world.
It's awesome.
It is so, but it's really. But can you admit, man, that it's really odd?
It's just really impressive, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, because like cross country skiing is really hard, and they go like long distances.
I've never been skiing. I have no intention to ever go skiing. Snow is wet. I hate snow, so I don't know.
Oh, skiing's great, dude.
Man, but snow is wet.
So like they've to ski, right, and it's really hard. Like it's physically very demanding, and then you're really tired. You use your arms as well when you're doing that kind of skiing, and then you have to go and like shoot stuff, and that's like you have to shoot accurately with your arms having done a load of exercise, and like hold the rifle, and I just think it's really physically impressive.
Is this something to do again with military? Like, as in, this is what hunting is derived from hunting in snowy biomes.
I guess probably.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it might be more to do with like hunting and surviving and being a lad in the north of Sweden or whatever, rather than specifically military stuff.
Yeah, I didn't mean it as in like organized military, but as in like you like based on hunting there. That's those are some solid picks, Bill. There's some solid picks. I feel like I let the side down here, because I was just.
For someone who isn't really all that into sport, I chose two good options, didn't I?
You did. It's not bad at all. I feel like I shouldn't continue on with the nonsense because Bill's getting self-conscious. But
don't worry about it, dude.
I was going to be like, you should consider diversifying. Perhaps being a fighter pilot and a 3-time gold-winning tiger wrestler is too small time for you. I think you should diversify into biathlon.
Way too small.
Way too small. Anyhow, do you remember I was like, hey, Bill, you know the way like we're slowly becoming real adults? Well, me more so than you. What?
That's a bit offensive.
No, it's offensive to me, if anything, man.
That you're more of an adult than I am.
No. That I have more to do to become an adult.
Oh, I get you.
Is what I meant. Yeah. No. Like, as in, I'm the eternal child in this relationship, and I'm catching up to your status in adulthood.
All right. Well, I do not agree, but go on.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. We're both getting there, Reggie. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I was like, given that we're all like real grown-up adults, we should keep podcast recording really short so that we have the ability to be able to edit and get out a podcast recording. And I was like, let's do, an hour 45. Whittle it down to an hour and a half, good length of a podcast. Here we are, 2.5 hours later. After at least my book, I was expressly going, okay, Edgar, right, okay. Today is a day where we keep it short. It's like, nope. Anyhow, should we wrap this up?
Let's leave it there.
Bill, it's been joyous. I wonder how much of this is going to stay in the main show.
I hope lots.
So do I. All right, listen. Thank you so much, man. And I'm going to one more time. I'm going to say thanks to Clockwork Door for sorting us out and potentially sorting us out ongoing and keeping the podcast alive. It means a lot. Irish people, go check it out. Links in the show notes. International people, go show some love on Facebook, Twitter, and all the various social media that I can get off them. This is a big deal for me and Bill. All right.
Definitely.
Cool. Will we do the Edgar out?
Yes.
Okay.
On the count of 3.
1,
2,
3.
3. Edgar out.
Edgar out.
Or just get rid of analog instruments altogether, acoustic wind instruments altogether, and everyone just play EWIs.
Yes, no, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
No, I think we should do it.
I'd quite like to get an EWI, actually. Maybe I'll buy one.
I have no idea what an EWI is. I was hoping that the conversation would move away really quickly. What's an
It's okay
EWI?
to ask questions, Edgar.
An electric wind instrument.
Electronic.
You got to give me that one. I was close, man.
Yeah, it was pretty good.